Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how you can take full advantage of your MX5, your gig board, or even your pedal board's MIDI function. So I'm going to show you how you can change to a totally different preset by using ProgChange, and also how to program in ProgChange, and that will allow you to turn on or off different effects that you may have inside of your presets, and as well as being able to switch into a different scene that allows you to turn on or off multiple blocks at once, and also as well as how to program in a ProgChange message that allows you to control the expressions on your device. So let's say you want to control a wah pedal. Instead of using the pedal on here, you can control those velocity inside of your DAW by sending that ProgChange messages into your MX5 or whatever device you have. That will automatically control the expressions for you. Alright, so before we get into the tutorial portion, I'm going to go over some things that you would need to get started on being able to send MIDI signals into your device. So if you already have everything that you need, there are timestamps on this video that allows you to just jump ahead to the tutorial portion of this video. But before you do, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button, because making these videos as helpful as possible takes a lot of time and effort, so a like and a subscribe would be greatly appreciated. Alright, so let's get into some of the things that you would need to be able to send a MIDI signal from your computer into your device. So first of all, you are going to need a MIDI cable. If you have the MX5, the HeadRush will provide you a MIDI adapter that would allow you to plug in your normal MIDI cable and plug this into your MIDI interface device. And another thing you are going to need is a MIDI interface or a audio interface that has a MIDI interface built into it. Before we begin, please make sure that your audio and MIDI interface's driver is up to date so you don't run into any issues with sending MIDI signal into your device. Now let's open up our DAW and get our MIDI interface up and running. Okay, so today I'm going to be using Reaper. Once you have your Reaper opened, what you're going to do is you're going to go up to Option, Preferences, and then you're going to go down to your MIDI devices. Now yours might look a little bit different. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to find your MIDI interface, and then what you're going to do, you're going to right click it and then enable input, and then for your output you can enable output down here as well. Okay, so once you have both of those things enabled, just hit apply and then OK. Now in this little empty box right here, you're going to open up a track, and then you're going to go down here, you're going to click on route, you're going to open that up, and this is where you're going to tell this track where to send the MIDI messages to. Alright, so you're going to go over to MIDI hardware output, click on that, and then click on the device that you are using. There we go. Once you have that done, hit the exit button. Alright, so once you've done that, you are pretty much good to go. Alright, so now what you need to do is, you're going to hold down the left click and then drag out a section of the track. Alright, and then you're going to go up to Insert, and then you are going to select New MIDI Item. What that does, it will put in a little program box that allows you to program in your MIDI messages. You double click on this. Once you open that up, it will show you a piano roll of where you can program in any of your MIDI messages. Alright, so in this box right here, this is where you will see a whole bunch of different MIDI messages that you can use to program into this piano roll. Now let's program in a ProgChange. Alright, so what we're going to use is Bank Program Select. Click on that, and then you're going to double click, and once you double click, it's going to bring up a pop-up that allows you to choose what program number you want to change. Now this is where things kind of get a little bit confusing, because if you program in program bank on your device to number 1, you have to program in program number 0 on your DAW. So you'll have to program inside of your DAW program number 0 if you want to switch to a bank number 1. If you want to switch over to bank number 2 or preset number 2 on your MX5 or your gig board, you will have to program in bank number 1. So program number 0 is equal to 1 on here. Program change number 1 on here is equal to program change number 2, and then 2 for 3, 3 for 4, and so on and so forth. So for my MIDI program change, if I want to switch it to number 2, I'm going to have to input number 1 on inside of my DAW. Now if I click send now, it's not going to do anything. So what I'm going to have to do is open up a preset, hit the 3 dots, hardware assigned, and in that box right next to tempo, it's called MIDI program. Alright, so you're going to want to click on that. I'm going to change that to number 2. Then I'm going to hit the back arrow and make sure you save before you switch out of it. Now since I have that on number 2, when I click send the signal now to test out the signal, it's going to automatically switch over to the MIDI program change number 2 on the MX5. So let me go back to the first preset, hardware assign. I'm going to assign this to number 1. Saved. If I put in the number 0 inside of my DAW, it will switch me over to my MIDI program change 1 on the MX5. I'm going to hit OK. You can drag this anywhere in your timeline. So if you want it to switch back at a certain part of a song, you can just drag and drop it right there. And over here, I'm going to add in 1. Alright, so I have my first MIDI message to switch me over to MIDI program change number 2 on the MX5, and then once it hit a certain point in the timeline, it will hit MIDI program change number 1 on the MX5. So once you hit play, it's going to hit that first one. There we go. So it switches to number 2 and then back to number 1. Alright, and that is how you can program in your program changes to allow you to switch in between different presets at a certain part in a song. Okay, so now let's go into control changes. Now this, you're going to have to read over your device's manual to see what MIDI messages numbers does what to your device. So for the MX5, the control changes numbers are 50, 51, and 52. And I'm sure that it is the same on the gig board. So because the gig board has 4 different buttons, it'll be 50, 51, 52, and then 53 on the gig board. Let's go into our CC and put in number 50. Now that you clicked on 50, you're going to double click and then double click again, drag that down. Alright, so once you double click and put in your little block, what you're going to do is you're going to max it out. Once you have maxed it out, next thing you got to watch out for is to make sure that the duration of sending your control change message isn't too long. Alright, so if this is too long, what it's going to do is it's going to make the MX5 think that you're holding down the button. That is something that you don't want to do if you just want to toggle on off your distortion or any kind of pedal that you have programmed into the button. So what you're going to need to do is kind of like shorten the duration of the signal just a bit, so that whenever you hit play and it goes over it, it's just going to send a short enough message for it to just tap on the button instead of kind of like sending a signal of holding the button. And if you want to activate the second button, what you need to do is go to CC, go to CC number 51, double click again, drag that down, max this all the way out, shorten the duration a bit, so it's not going to make the MX5 think that you're holding down the button. Hit play, go over it, and then it'll switch you over to the second button. Let me switch it on over to that third button. Once you hit play, it'll activate that, and then activate that. And then if you want to hit that third button, you're going to do the exact same thing, but you're going to program in CC number 52. Max it out. Watch out for, and again, watch out for the duration, so it's not going to think that you're holding down the button. Alright, so now, whenever you hit play, it's going to automatically switch you over to the first one, the second scene, and then it'll hit the third scene. And that is how you can program in a control change that allows you to turn on or off different scenes, different effects that you may have programmed inside of your button. Let's program in control change that'll let you control the expression on your MX5 or your gig board. So for this one, you're going to have to use mod real MSB. Alright, and then once you turn that on, you're going to double click here, and then double click anywhere else. And now this line is your velocity, right? So down here at the bottom, it just means it is at 0. And then as it kind of like slowly goes through the timeline, it's going to slowly increase the velocity until it maxes out at the very top. If your line isn't looking like a smooth wave, what you're going to have to do is kind of like right click on the line that you have, CC curve shape, and then choose any one of these. I'm using a slow start and slow end. Alright, so I'm going to go into a new rig, go down to expression. I am going to choose black wall, closed. Alright, so now that you have a expression pedal or any kind of effects that you want to control the expression of, put into your rig, what you're going to do now is go to that 3 dots in the top right corner, hardware assigned, and make sure that you have your pedal or whatever effects that you want to control is inside of one of these blocks. So you just tap on one of those blocks, hit the pedal, and then you can choose whether or not you want to control the depth, the volume, or the mix of whatever pedal that you want to use. And inside your range, you can choose whether or not you want the range of it to be from a 50% to 100, or 0% to 45%, or 0 to 30. So you can kind of limit the range of your expression. Alright, so now that you have your expression programmed in, when you hit play inside of your DAW, you're going to see it. You're going to see the control change activating the expression. So now you can kind of do all kinds of crazy things with this. Double click, drag down, double click here, and then down. Alright, so now keep going up, and then quickly down, and then slowly back up, and then quickly down again. You can do the same for any sort of like modulation, tremolo, alright, hardware assigned. Now I'm going to assign a pedal to the expression. Alright, so I put in a tremolo. Right here it'll give you the option of what you want the expression pedal to control. I'm going to choose depth. Now when I go back, you can see the depth going up, then down, And that is how you can control the expressions on the MX5. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button, and also subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next video.